wish I could sing. I really do. Speedy slide. 9 to 5. Just lay it on. Just lay it on. Sail on. It's called a lakeside stink. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Of this vessel. All right, because I feel like that was like, I'm already at like 40 seconds. I haven't said nothing, haven't done anything. And as you can tell, there's a new little setup going on. New little setup. New setup alert. So, welcome to, I guess I should say, the new Cam's Corner. So, obviously, for the first, I want to say like 5 episodes or so, I was doing Cam's Corner at my studio, and I decided to change up the perspective because perspective is everything. But I wanted to I wanted it to feel more of what Cam's Corner is supposed to be. So obviously, in like the first ever episode of Cam's Corner, which is I feel like 2 years ago now, crazy, maybe, but I was talking about how it's like more of a it's like journal thoughts. It's kind of like a documentation of what you would do when you're journaling. And I felt like being at the studio was nice. Like I have, we have all that equipment and whatnot, but I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like more of a enjoyment, more of a in your own space kind of feeling like I could sit here and do actual journaling. I'm not saying I couldn't do it in the studio, but it's different here, So, so we're kind of here. So this is me and Jenny's bedroom, but like obviously one corner. So, and how I always talk about in studio, like having all the fake greenery. There's a lot of greenery around me. I don't think that you can see it all, but obviously you see the peace lily right here. I have a big Dracaena tree over here. I have some palm over here, some propagations going on. So obviously this is for the visual people who watch the podcast. Obviously the auditorial people, you don't know that, but it is nice. It's a different vibe. It's a different feel. So I'm kind of excited to do this part of this journey here. And with all that being said, I think there's a lot to kind of get into today, just because I haven't, as far as I know, I don't think I have. I haven't released any I haven't released any like YouTube videos in January. Now, that makes me upset because I was doing um the vlogs that kind of like just getting me started with that consistency, and have been shooting my proposal idea. And I think that I have one more that I shot like in December, and then I had another little mini photo shoot that I did as well, and I kind of like just vlogged that just to kind of show people, and I didn't upload them. I didn't upload them, and it's kind of crazy because like I kind of have like a new little uh vibe for the vlog. And that's gonna it's gonna look it's gonna look different, but I'm still gonna obviously put those out and release those. But I kind of wanted to the plan was to already have those be out. You know what I mean? Like to have those be there and then come into January. I'm not that person that's like, oh, new year, new me. I don't like that. But I do enjoy going into the overall new year with a fresh perspective. It doesn't have to be a different perspective, but a fresh perspective. It's been a long year, and I mean it's kind of, well, as I'm learning too, that the calendar that we use is not like accurate. You can look that up, find that information for yourself. I'm not gonna get that deep into that, but it kind of sucks that we like end the year in in the winter time, and then we just started right in the winter time. Like, you know what I mean? There, it's still kind of cold, dreary, sad, and then you just kind of go right into that in January. But nevertheless, just going into the new year with a fresh perspective, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I wanted to kind of establish this, kind of get everyone caught up, because I wanted to go into this year with a different mindset and a different level of consistency, especially on the YouTube platform as well. Just everything that I'm doing, but just mainly to YouTube. But um but yeah, so obviously the beginning of the video, I still we still love our music. We still love our music. And at the beginning I was singing Fantastic Voyage by Lakeside. So kind of a throwback to when I was growing up and waking up Saturday mornings, and my mom has all the R&B and all the R&B vibes playing and whatnot. So that's kind of what that was. So not necessarily a song of the day that I'm gonna do that I feel like I was doing before. As much as I love music and I do want it to be incorporated within this, I don't think that I wanna present it in that way. So every once in a while, like I have the AirPod in. Every once in a while, song is gonna come on. I might start vibing. I might start singing. Because in the future, if this does get monetized, I can't be playing the songs out loud because you know copyright, right? Which is crazy. It's crazy that, and I'll talk about this like another time, like more in depth. But I think it's wild that, and obviously this is like an old practice, and I think this is all forms of art, even like film and television. But like with music, it's kind of crazy that it's like, oh, you don't own the licensing, so you can't use this music. But it's not as if like people are making money off of the song, off of the music. Like, yes, music is very important in music and audio in general. Like it definitely helps tell a story or carry along a story. But the song is already made. I'm not making music off of the actual song. I'm making money. I hope I said that right. I'm making money off of my skills and my talent as a creator. And the music, I love the music so much, and I would love for that song to be a part of it, because music touches us in many ways. And like it's crazy that there's so many songs that I wish I could use for certain projects, but I can't because it's like, oh, I don't have licensing. But it's interesting because especially now in today's age where like mostly like TikTok was the reason this happened, but like a song can like go viral, people start dancing to it. And obviously for the younger generation, most of them hear a song on there and they're like, oh, a TikTok song. And then all of us other older folks were like, that's not a TikTok song, like that's it. First off, there's no TikTok song. Like that is, those are real songs. They're just, it's, I guess, is the way that you guys are being introduced to the song. But then all of a sudden the song catches traction more and more, and the streams and the downloads go up for it. So realistically, by people playing those songs, you're now creating more streams and more revenue for these billion-dollar companies. So it's like, we're the reason that you're making more money, but yet you're still going to punish us by saying, oh, you can't use the song, whatever. But I digress. I digress. Because that's not what the podcast is about. But hey, it's journaling thoughts. It's just me kind of just sitting here and talking with you guys, talking with myself as well. Um and just going through, some of the stuff that I am dealing with, that I believe and whatnot. But this one is definitely a little bit more fundamentally structured, and a little different too as well. I'm gonna do it a little different way. Not necessarily gonna be geared toward a um a concept or an overall thought. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it, right? I'm gonna just do it how I want to do it. So here we go. But for today though, I do want to kind of talk about a, an update with myself and what has happened kind of over the last. I'm not even gonna say the last few months. I'm gonna say the last month, which was in December, and then coming into now and kind of where I'm going forward from there because that's what this is supposed to be about going forward, moving forward. And quick side note for people watching this, like the visual people on YouTube, like this green light that I have behind me, which I really like the vibe of, but it's a portable LED light. It may die and it may go off, and you might just be like, wow, that's unprofessional or that's very amateurish. Yep, it is very much so. Just showing you, you just gotta set your camera up and create a vibe the best you can, and you go from there. But nevertheless, so jumping right into it, so I got fired from my, I guess I would say, my day job, my 9 to 5 job in December, end of November, end of November. Yeah, end of November. Like I want to say like the last like week and a half of November. I got fired from my 9 to 5. Actually, you know what? I've been debating back and forth on the type of person, not the type of person I want to be. I know the type of person I want to be, but I've been debating back and forth on like when you're talking about a situation, being careful naming names or naming entities, companies, businesses for future reference. But then I thought I was born in '93. What am I doing? Like, I'm not in this like I'm all about like when it comes to like battle rap. Like I'm all about like dude, just say their names, say the person's name, say the entity. Like let us know who you're talking about, what you're talking about. Like don't let's stop hiding behind things. So with that being said, I got fired from my job called Bavette. It's like a local butcher, but then it's like a restaurant too as well. Really nice place though. Like I'm not throwing shade on the place, but it's facts. I work there and then I did not work there. You know. With that being said, I will not name the names of individuals because I think that is I think no one in this story has a fault to me. Now, if someone like did something to me or said something about me, then yeah, we're naming names. I'm not gonna hold back on a name. But like, ain't nobody did nothing to me that like, put me in harm's way or put me in a uncontrollable situation or something. So I don't need to name individual name. But so just kind of literally get into the story. So I had a photo shoot, which was one of the proposal ones, which is going to be the next one that I upload after I upload um, this podcast. I had already asked for it off originally. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for my auditory people. I guess even my visual people too, like watching. Like I just getting used to talking and being better at it too, and when to take breaths and all that stuff. But so yeah, so I was going. I had a photo shoot to do, and I had already like scheduled off for it, but I didn't get off for it, and I did try to look for someone to take my shift as well, and no one could take my shift, and so I decided like it was the first time honestly within probably my last like 10 years of like just working like working a job where I decided I was going to choose my passion over my job. And I'm not saying like, a lot of people choose themselves over their job. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't feel good. I'm not going to work, or even the more important ones, which are like, oh, like I mentally, I'm not feeling it. I need to take a day out. I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm talking about legit, like you have a business. There is something else that you're doing on the side, your hustle, your passion, your dream, and it's conflicting now with your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5 is paying most of your bills. But that conflict though, are you gonna be like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't focus on my dream, my passion, whatever on this day. And yeah, like a reschedule or something like that can possibly come up. But it's a situation where like, nope, I already had it taken care of. And you guys faulted on it and no one else could help me out. So I decided to choose the photo shoot. And it's so funny too, because like the back story of this too leading up is for the past like a month I had been taking the cuts from work, which basically people in the service industry know what that means, but if you don't, it's just like um basically if it's like slow or something like that, a cut is someone not coming to work or someone leaving early as well. And so because of like it's slow season, obviously, it's cold. I mean, it's holiday season. People are spending money, but you know, so the manager would like text, all the servers, bartenders, and I would just keep taking the cuts because no one would. And the thing that I thought about in my head is I don't want to get to work and is seven of us there and no one's making money, and I know that everyone needs to work, everyone needs to make money and whatnot. So I kept taking the cuts because I'm like, you know what? I also have stuff that I can work on with photography and whatnot. And so I'm like, I'll suck it up. I'll take the cuts. For like a month and a half, I'd been taking like every single cut. And even my manager let me know, like, thank you. I appreciate you. Like you've there's times where you haven't, in 2 weeks, you've only worked 2 days because you're taking all the cuts and like no one else is. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Like I care about people and I understand that people need to make money. People have, these people talk about this place as if this is like almost their life and it's not mine. So like I'm fine doing that. You know what I mean? And sorry for my visual people too. Like I have to keep my iPad like on. I should have just put the display to not like dim or not go off. See, these are learning experiences. But back to the story. So that's kind of like the backstory of leading up. And so this one time, and I've never called in, I've never not showed up. Like there's no issues with me. Everyone loves me, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Like there was a black guy, a dishwasher, but I was the only. I'm like I'm always the only like black person. Like whenever I've like served or bartended, I was always like the only black like server in the restaurant. But people enjoy me, people love me, customers love me because of how I interact with them and coworkers, how I interact with them. I'm very me. I'm very Cameron, and I've met a lot of great people. I've met a lot of great people to help with my photography too, like customers, because they ask what I do, and when I start talking about it, I get excited, and they see the passion, and then they're kind of invested. So I didn't show up for work, and the next day I worked. And I felt like I knew something was like gonna happen. I could feel it in my gut. And so I went, Jenny dropped me off and I walked in. Now it was busy. It was busy. Like every bar stool was filled, all the tables were filled. And as I'm walking toward the host stand, because that's where we would clock in too. The nicest employee in the whole entire building is working as well. She's there. Nicest person. One of the nicest people I've ever met. I said hi to her. No response. None at all. But the energy that I feel immediately from her is like a sense of like nervousness and like something like unsettling, when like your stomach is like queasy, or like, it's before like a big test, or people who play sports is before, first game, or I mean, just before, a job interview, or just before you do something where it just causes a lot of nerves and your stomach gets a little queasy. Like, that was the energy I felt. And it was kind of, it was, it was weird, but it was weird in the sense that I'm like, something's happening. And I kid you not, like, I am a big energy person. I really am. And like I said, it was busy in there. But at that moment, it got like it got quiet. I didn't hear anything that was going on, and I felt the energy of all of my coworkers at the time. Every time I walk in, everyone's like happy to see me. What's up, Cam? Hey, Cam, how you doing? Yeah, none of that, none of that. And there were other coworkers that were there, and they're like looking. They're not like staring directly at me, but they're staring at me in a way of like they're trying to be like slick about it. So obviously, well, as I'm telling this story, everyone who's listening could depict. Oh, they already know. Like the day before, like, oh, Cameron didn't show up to work. Like, oh, and in their mind, Cameron's fired. You know, one time, right? He's fired, and so they like it's like they already knew that, but I was feeling that, and I just felt like, damn. And we'll get into that. But then the manager comes up, and good dude, really good dude, and very unsettling though, very like voice shaky. I could hear it, and like fast forward through the conversation because it wasn't like a bad conversation, but I'm just like, he's like, we're gonna have to like schedule another time for you like to come back in and sit down. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, we're not gonna waste each other's time here because I knew that, like, okay, I didn't come to one shift, and that's how I'm gonna be treated. That's how I'm gonna be treated. Okay, well, let's not waste each other's time. It's like, it's either like I'm fired, right? Correct. Okay, I'm leaving. There's no, and I know like some jobs, like, you got to be like fired on the clock and stuff like that, like depending on like what you do and whatnot. But I'm like, we don't need to do that. That's a waste of my time because now I felt like for all these months that I've been here now, which was like 9 months, I'm like, you guys wasted my time, and that kind of puts me just right into like my initial feeling about it. Oh, and then Jenny didn't leave. Like, she had parked. And so like I'm like, oh babe, I just got fired. So you know, but but that initial feeling though, I was just like, and like I told Jenny, and I've always known this, but it hurt still because I'm like, wow, like I don't really share myself. I don't really open myself up to people either. That's my only child syndrome, and I got issues that I got to work through as well. But I felt like betrayed in a sense of, the one thing that I preach so much is that we need to act more human. We need to be more like human beings in a sense. And that regardless of what the situation was in that moment, I couldn't have got a simple hi from anyone. I couldn't have got a simple. There's been situations like this that I've been in with people, and me being me, my personality, we're just gonna throw out a random name. We're John. We'll use easy name. So John, like John is the manager was talking about like John. This might be John's like last day, like his last shift. When he comes in, like they're gonna let him know. And John will come in. John's a cool person. Like it's not like he's like yeah, he's not the best worker. But like John will come in. Me being me, I'm just like, hey, what's up, John? What's up, Cam? How you doing? Look, man. Look, I'm good, bro. But look, you know that you didn't like come in yesterday. Managers was a little pissed, so they about to talk to you, bro. I'm just letting you know. Like that's the type of person I am. It's not like I'm gearing a person up for, oh yeah, you're about to get fired or something. But it's like I know you as a human. I know you as a person, and so like I'm not gonna just not talk to you because that made me feel like the world that we live in, which is people are so attached to their job, people are so attached to what they do that that is what defines them. And so it was almost like I had hurt their baby. Like if you understand what I'm saying, like we're not looking at you or like we don't want to make direct eye contact. We don't even want to say hi. We don't want to say nothing to you because like, oh, you're in trouble. Oh, what's happening? And then there's other employees that were like coming toward the bar just so they could because like I said, it was a lot of people. It was loud. Just so they can like hear the conversation, like nosiness. And I'm just baffled. Cause I'm listening to like the manager talking to him like a grown man with respect, but then I'm also feeling and I'm also watching. And I'm like, A, how old are we? And B, like, I was so invested in most of your guys' lives. Like always asking, I could care less about the place we work in. I could care less about that because that's not who you are. What you do in school, what you do outside of school, your hobbies, your relationships, advice that you may need. Like, I'm like growth. Like, I'm just like going to some of these people's businesses outside of their work just to support local bit. Like, it's it just made me be like, I'm still me. I'm still gonna be that Cameron that this is about. This is bigger than me. It's don't take things personal. Like don't take nothing personal. But in that instant, it made me realize that there are so many people who are still like just. I don't mean to sound like crazy or something like that, but there are still so many people like plugged into the system and that they don't know how to feel, they don't know how to respond, they don't know how to act. And I know that's saying a lot because you're like, oh, but Cameron, like, all right, well, some of these people are in relationships or like I'm sure they're not like that with their partner or they're not like that with family. And yeah, that's the point though. That's the point. We need to treat everybody of equals until someone disrespects you in any shape or form. Like treat everyone equal, treat everybody the same. Like I did not understand whatsoever. And the manager's a really good guy. He is. And I like messaged him for like W-2s and what, and he's like, oh hey man, like yeah, just sent it out this past like, Friday. Like I really hope like you're all good. Um and he's a really genuine guy. And he messaged me even after that too, like it was a pleasure to work with me and like he's really sorry and I don't think he had a full say so, and I'm not gonna say the owner's name because once I say it people are gonna be like, oh yeah, the name tells us everything. But like I'm sure it was the owner told him and like he had no choice, you know what I mean? But that's perfectly fine. Like I don't hold resentment toward them, and I still hope that that business does well because their food is really good. And I will say though, a person's name, um Zach, he is one of the um he, he is one of the chefs there. Like technically he's not like the head chef because the head chef is the owner, but like he is a chef there, and like I did a photo shoot for him for one of his pop-ups as well, Filipino cuisine, and just I'm excited to see his growth and see his story too. And he also reached out to me afterwards too, and that's what I like. Do they're the manager and then Zach, like they still reached out to me after the fact. You know what I mean? And it didn't even really necessarily like even Zach. It was more so about like his business is called Cinta, like that's their food business, him and his wife. Like talked about that as well. You know what I mean? Because it's like that didn't define who that didn't define our relationship. That didn't define our friendship. Our friendship was actually more defined by us being like artists and us being creatives and just understanding the realms of that world. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what happened, and that's initially how I felt, and like it still made me be invested in trying to make this a better world in terms of treating everyone like humans and making sure that everyone that I come in contact with and encounter that they understand that I'm treating you as equal as I would treat the person standing right next to you or the person behind you, you know. So so honestly, and then I want to put something in perspective. And I don't know, I know there's people that feel this way, people that don't feel this way, but overall, like I've always, not always, I want to say probably in 2016, the thought settled within my head of what a 9 to 5 is and how a 9 to 5 is not something that I look at as an important factor. Now, don't get me wrong, a 9 to 5 it's what the world has been built on for the thousands of years. But we live in a day and age where 9 to 5s take advantage of our time and what we find of value. And so that's why I don't view them as important entities. Now, yeah, they my 9 to 5 is paying my bills until I can facilitate not having to worry about 8 and 9 to 5 and being able to do things like this and spread my photography around the world. And to be honest, even me and Jenny talked about, well, she's also in her, she has a year and a half left of nursing school, so congratulations, baby. But we even talked about, being schoolies, like fixing up a bus and just traveling across the country. And definitely too, like, if Jenny can be a traveling nurse, like, we something we think about, but we don't know that for sure. But like just living life, doing things that we love, and not having to feel like I have to report back to someone else, and I need to always be thinking like, oh my god, if I don't fulfill something, or I don't know, like, just I don't want my livelihood to be in the hands of a corporation or someone else. You know what I mean? And it's cool that people don't feel that way. It's cool that people think that, like, no, you need to, graduate, get a good job, you're 9 to 5, and you need to work, and you need to work hard, and every once in a while you make sure you're saving, and every other weekend you have some fun. Do like no, no, because even the billionaires, which is a complete huge gap, but yeah, they work hard, but money is working for them, not the other way around. not the other way around whatsoever. The people that actually have to work a 9 to 5, we're working for money. That's the difference. And I don't want that. I don't think I've ever wanted that. And so we're here now. And that's why I picked my art over my job. It was the first time I ever did that. And it's because I know the mission. I know my mission, you know. And I always say the same thing in all the end of my YouTube videos, and it's kind of on my social walls too, but just keeping your art dangerous and cultivating to make a better world. And just to like break that down just a little bit, I'm not going to go on a tangent about that, but keeping your art dangerous. I say that because art is a art is something that should not be censored. It should not be silenced, and it should not be taken away from the people. So when I say keep your art dangerous, it's alluding to the message of don't let no one tell you what you can't or can't do and or say. You keep putting it out there, and the message will be received from the masses or one person, and it could change that one person's life. And I want to put that in perspective too, because I do think about that a lot of times, and I had to think about that a lot with myself of like, there are people that can touch millions and billions of people. And I think in today's world, especially with like streamers, influencers, and obviously still have our celebrities as well. But you could be very small. You can have a very small influence, and that could be on 2 or 3 people, but you never know what those 2 or 3 people will grow up to be. And it's because of your words, because of your actions, because of your art that inspired them or motivated them, shaped them to become the instrument or the tool needed to be um to have an impact. And so I just I just knew that mission. I remember that mission. And I think it's easy for a lot of people to be like, "Oh, well, could you?" No, I couldn't have rescheduled it. We're gonna put that out there. Yeah, no, because it was already known, and I think it was a moral crossroad with me of like, what am I gonna do? Because a lot of times that all that is like, oh, yep, I'll reschedule because even though I did what I needed to do to get the time off for it, yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, I'll go to work. For what? No. Be strong and be uprooted in what you believe in and what you're creating, what you're trying to create. And that's just the way that I thought. And I was happy. I was actually very happy and very proud of myself. Because it was kind of the first time in my life where I decided not to pick, and I'm gonna say the man, like we work for Uncle Sam. I decided not to pick the man and pick myself. So it made me real happy. And it led to me being more constructive with myself and wanting to basically make sure that I do the things that I need to do, especially going into this year. So, obviously this whole the Cam's Corner podcast is going to be a little different. I'm going to do it a little different way. I'm going to shoot it differently. So this is the new look. It may not be necessarily the new setup per se because I'm just like, all right, turn the camera on and put the light behind me, turn my warm lights on, kind of, having the plants around me because this is the energy that I want. Overall, I believe that I need to make this more of a focal because I said that when I did this whole thing in the first place, and then I haven't been consistent with it. But I have kind of a new way of doing it, a new philosophy about it, and so a fresh perspective, if I should say, about it. And so that's so this is going to be a bigger deal. I'm going to kind of use the Cam's Corner podcast to talk more to about the things that I am doing. I'm gonna use this platform as a more as a extension of everything else that's going on. And so that's why I definitely would love for people to you know, like and follow the journey through the podcast as well, because I'll get more in depth on things that I am doing, things that I have coming up, versus trying to create a separate like broadcasting just for that. I'll use this to do that for future reference. But overall, though, and I just want to kind of put out there, what I do have planned next few projects. So I've been shooting the proposal, and I'm going to get a little bit more into that too in the next like week or two about that, because I do have plans. I'm done with it now. So I shot it between it was a concept between November, November, yeah, November to end of January. So I'm all done with that. I just got to finish up one more shoot of editing, and I do plan on trying to get in touch with some curators at museums. I would love for some of these pieces to be displayed in a museum, but also I was thinking, because I've been in contact with some, I've been trying to put my name out there, and for the 2, 3 people watching this, I wish it was more because it'll relate to what I'm about to say or listening to it. Um, I've tried to contact some museums, but they all want, like, you need to have, which is wild, that museums say like you need to have experience or you need to have a portfolio of like curated things already. Like I feel like when it comes to art, it should just be a review process. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be, oh yeah, like, and we'll just use my name. Oh yeah, Cameron Jackson, like he's been in like, he's been in over like 30 museums. Like we definitely want some of his work in art. It's like that's cool and all, but like let's just have applications just for artists in general, and like let's review their work, and if it fits, I don't know, and it shouldn't really fit a standard because it is art. There should be no standard, but if it fits what you feel like would, I don't know, attract people to an exhibit or whatever the case is, like, then go through with that artist. So yeah, so I've encountered a lot of needing like experience or needing to be curated before. And I told myself, if all else fails, then I'm just gonna fund it myself. I'm just gonna rent out a space, and you know, if I end up spending, $4,000 on space and drinks and food and printing off my work, and only 6 people go, cool, cool. It's not about. I mean, yeah, it is about people seeing my art, but it's also about doing something that I feel like my art deserves. And it doesn't just deserve to be seen on the screen. It deserves to be seen in the flesh. It deserves for you to come and look at it and admire it. And so that's what I feel. So for the proposal, that's what I'm trying to plan to do as well. Um so I do have some upcoming projects coming up. Um, so this is obviously it's untitled, um, but I'm going to be shooting more like ethereal. I think that's how you pronounce it, ethereal. It's not ethereal, ethereal. I think it's I think it's ethereal, but basically it's like it looks um not necessarily fantasy, but it looks very soft and moody, and it like I want to be able to explore a place of pure imagination, but also mixed with like reality. And so it's going to be a lot more, not like a magician, but it's going to be more like smoke and mirrors, a lot of lights, projection. I can't afford lasers, and I've been trying to like look at how you get like lasers, but they're really expensive. But a lot of projection, a lot of smoke, a lot of mirrors, and I'm really excited about that. So that'll be something that I'm trying to look for more like in April-ish probably. And then with that I'll have also some fantasy projects I'm trying to do. So in fantasy I feel like can range between a lot, and fantasy still mixes in with like ethereal type of photos as well, but I want to do some things where I'm diving into like it's gonna sound crazy that I'm gonna say this word, and you're gonna be like, how can you say that word in fantasy because it is real, Cameron? What are you talking about? But like even like religious entities. So like I have an idea to do like a Lilith inspired shoot. And I know people might say I'm crazy. Oh, you're the devil, Cameron. No. But like I love that. I love her whole concept. I love her whole idea of who Lilith is, because that is still very prevalent in today's world. But just bringing certain realities from religious aspects, and it doesn't just have to be like the Bible. Like I really love Roman and Greek mythologies and stuff like that. So just kind of exploring more of that in the future. I'm putting this out there now. In the future, though, I do want to create a Greek mythology like series, like TV series. That would be really cool. I feel like there's so many stories to be told with that, and but there isn't a lot of that out there. You know what I mean? Like those stories with Greek and even Roman mythology, like that stuff goes so deep. Even if we go back to like pharaohs and stuff like that, like that stuff gets deep. There are some good shows out there, don't get me wrong, good movies, but like nothing that's like how we talk about The Walking Dead, how we talk about Stranger Things. Like those are like huge staple shows that are like they kind of change the the culture. You know what I mean? And so like I kind of want to create something like that one day in the future too. So that goes into my fantasy idea too. So I feel like I'm going to start shooting these shoots, and then maybe like 10 years later, it's like, oh, I finally have created my Greek mythology show, you know? So that'll be kind of cool. Um, Also, music videos. I'm going to be getting into music videos this year too, because like I said, I love music, and I want to reach out with I would love to work with certain artists. Obviously, let's be completely honest. Everyone wants to shoot music videos. You do want to work with the artists that you love, and I'm put it out there. Banks, Jesse Reyes, Tory, free Tory. Love. I would love that. Um, J. Cole, uh, JID, NF. That would be crazy. That would be wild. So, and like I would love to work with those artists. But you gotta climb the ladder to that point. You know what I mean? And so I want to like reach out to like local artists, and because I know that I have the skill, and I think it would just be cool to give people that visual. It's one thing to be an artist and have your music, but it's another when you have the cool visuals that align with what message you're trying to tell as well with your song. And so I have that too as well that I'm trying to do. And I'm going to be trying to do some short stories, and I don't mean short stories like shorts or reels, TikToks. You'll still create those things, but I mean by I'm gonna try to do some more like teaching things, some motivational things, and they may be like short to that extension, like a minute or something, 45 seconds. But it's just like I want to be sure that I'm trying to give as much back, or things that when I feel like when I was trying to learn, or I was trying to figure out, navigate through this world of photography, and like a lot of different people, a lot of different influencers, a lot of different creators did help, but I still feel like I still feel there is no oversaturation. I actually just feel like it's just it's similar formulas. It's similar formulas, and there are some great people out there that I follow that I feel like are really real, really authentic, but for the most part it's just like it seems stale. It seems very stale to me in the viewpoint of like a photographer. And so I kind of want to I'm going to be doing more stuff like that as well. And then obviously long form videos, which is going to be more of my artistic expressions, my center photographer skills, and just growing with that. So I'm not saying that I am the greatest cinematographer right now, no, but just starting that journey on creating these long form videos and trying to just show off what I can do and what I'm capable of. So it's gonna be a fun journey. It's gonna be a fun year this year as well too. I think this is gearing up for a pretty crazy year. And with that being said too, I do have obviously I haven't had a job consistently for the last technically like 2 months now, and I've been doing a lot of door dashing, and now I'm about to. So I got a new job, a new 9 to 5, but in my new 9 to 5, actually my new 9 to 5 is an old job. It's an old job that I used to work at. Shout out Chipotle. Shout out Chipotle. Shout out Chipotle. For real, for real. So I'm gonna be going back there to work as a manager, and I sat down and had a conversation with Jenny of like, because she's going full time with school, and I told her that, hey, like if you go full time, I want to take care of us. And I want you to just get done with school because she's been part time for so long because just she's had to work as well, and she'll tell me how some people, especially in like nursing, and I'm sure nurses out there can attest to this too. Like they always say like they rather you just not work and you just because there's a lot to do with nursing, anything in the medical field, honestly. But it's like realistically, it's like who's paying these people's bills then? Oh, their parents. Yes, makes sense. And me and Jenny would do this for our kids as well. So I'm not saying like there's a problem with that, but that luxury isn't given to Jenny. You know what I mean? And so we have to do what we have to do. And it's been a long year for us too. And so I'm like, I want you to go full time. I don't want you to worry about having to work. Just focus on school and getting done with it. And so, obviously now though, the difference is with the 9 to 5. Not the difference is because I always had this mindset, but at least now it's like when I go to work, I'm gonna know why I'm there. And that's to support me and Jenny and have our bills paid. But the photography and all of that stuff, this is all gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change with that. I'm gonna make that schedule around obviously what my 9 to 5 schedule would be. But the mentality is just like I know what the 9 to 5 is for. And that's why it doesn't affect me going, and it also doesn't affect me getting another 9 to 5 job because I understand what it is that I need to be doing there. The 9 to 5 isn't my world. It's not my reality. It's just to have ends meet. That's all it is. And so I think that at the end of the day, everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out as long as we put the work into it as well. And I think that can go for anyone and everything. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to. You just have to put the work in. Literally, it's just, I think it's as simple as that. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I got today, and that's what today was. It was to kind of update you and kind of show, you know, something that happened to me obviously recently with me being fired, and kind of how I viewed that experience, and obviously like going into now, and kind of what the projection is for me, how I'm projecting it to be as well. And so hopefully that wasn't, I'm sorry for my auditorial people, but I explain even on the podcast. I'm gonna explain because you don't see it, you're not seeing it, but someone was just calling me, but I have my Apple Watch on, so I can decline it because I hate when that happens when my phone is recording me, and because I've found out now lately that it throws off the recording, the audio and the video gets like separated, and it sucks. But hopefully that wasn't a problem. But I just want to say thank you again, though, for everyone who is watching, who is listening. And if you just, just give me a like, a subscribe, a comment, a share, just anything obviously like helps this grow and helps me grow as well, too. And, next time it'll be the same thing. Will be a little different. I'm gonna kind of get into how Cam's Corner will probably be from now on. But I look forward to it, and I look forward to just sharing all of my art and every other message that I have with all of you in the world. And like I always say, just keep your art dangerous and make sure you are cultivating for a better world for all of us. I'll see you guys in the next one.
I am baptized, I am alive.